A while back, MR.TALKSALOT, a fellow Risk of Rain content creator, came to me with the idea of the first Risk of Rain 2 Nuzlocke challenge in the game's history. And you know what? It definitely was not the first one, but I still had lots of fun playing it, and I myself even helped create it. So I want to thank TALKSALOT for letting me be a part of it, and maybe possibly even being a part of something that could be important down the line, because you never know, really. But enough bedazzling, I want to tell you what this challenge is even, so you can understand what we're doing, as it is labeled as a Nuzlocke challenge, but it does give me a really big, sort of like a D&D inspired game mode vibe. So let me tell you all about the challenge info. To start with our first aspect, to put Nuzlocke in a Risk of Rain 2 format, we decided permadeath between stages and Eclipse would fit the best. Meaning if you died mid-Eclipse and your teammate progresses past the stage or the Eclipse, you will be considered permadeath. Our second aspect is teamwork, as our Nuzlocke challenge was designed with 4 players in mind, each one having a specific character and a role to play. Our final aspect is the objective, to reach Eclipse 8. Is something I have done on this channel time and time again. So, with our 3 core aspects out the way, we can talk about our 4 survivors and their roles with the items they're granted each Eclipse. Captain gets to make the decisions. They mostly amount to what portals to go through, when to activate TP, or interacting certain shrines, but whatever it may be, he always gets the final say. Another thing about Captain is if he is in permadeath and Commando is also dead or in permadeath, that current attempt is over, and we would have to go all the way back to Eclipse 1. Commando acts as the bodyguard, his job being to protect Captain directly, sticking by him and making sure he doesn't die. To help ensure that Commando fulfills his role, he is given a soldier syringe and a tri-tip dagger. If all fails and Captain does go into permadeath, Commando will assume Captain's role permanently even if Captain is revived. Mul-T acts as the tank, as he's very beefy but he has low damage, meaning he should be a distraction for enemies that target him instead of the Captain. To help keep him alive, he's given a tougher times. Then lastly, Loader acts as the scout, since she can traverse stages quicker than most. Loader should be going around the map and finding different resources like different shrines, equipments, and other things like that. Next, here's where we get into the D&D inspired elements, each character having a specific rule set to void and looter items. As Captain can't pick up lunar items but he can pick up void, Commando can't pick up void but can pick up lunar. Mul-T is the same as Captain, and Loader is the same as Commando. Now that we've covered each character, let's talk about the evolution missions for each one of them. Captain has the second hardest challenge in my opinion, as he needs to get his entire team to Eclipse 5 with 0 permadeaths. This grants him the ability to become Operator along with a revive, as if he dies normally as Operator, he will return to Captain. He also keeps his same item limitations as before. Commando by far has the hardest mission out of all the 4 of them, as you need to clear void fields 1 time to evolve him into a Void Fiend. And if you've played Risk of Rain 2 before and you've done void fields, you know, especially with the recent changes, that it can get really out of hand really quickly. With all the different enemies and all their items, it can completely kill a whole attempt. So you want to do it really early on. But the very nice thing about it is that Void Fiend gets a pluripotent larva. If you don't know what that is, it's the void version of the Dio Bear. His item limitation is the complete opposite of Commando's, where he loses access to lunar, but he does gain access to void items. To evolve Mul-T, you must complete 1 access node affected TP. And if you don't know what an access node is, it's the new red little thing with a bunch of little spiky things out of it that came out with the new DLC. And once you do that, he becomes Chef. And to keep the upgrades and to keep him as the tank, he's been giving several shield items. And he's also allowed to touch both lunar and void items. Loader's Evo is very important, as if you complete 2 Halcyon Shrines with 0 deaths during either of them, she becomes Seeker, giving you revives each stage. She is also granted to both Void and Lunar items. Now, with all the explanation out of the way, I just want to thank MR.TALKSALOT for letting me be a huge part of this Nuzlocke challenge. I also want to thank Jackk and Schmickle, or he can be called Skull, for joining us and just being a bunch of great guys in general. I have MR.TALKSALOT YouTube and his TikTok linked in the description. Same with Skull's TikTok, if you want to see what those guys are exactly. I highly recommend it looking Skull's art, as his art is just really good. I don't think I've ever even come up to him and been like, yo dude, your art's really cool. I'm gonna be honest, it is really, really cool. But no. I want to tell you about all the fun that we went through to deliver you guys the first 4-player Risk of Rain 2 Nuzlocke challenge in the game's history. And I can be sure on that one because I haven't seen any other Nuzlocke challenges. Before we get into the successful attempt, I want to give you a tiny bit of information about the other 4 attempts. The first 2 to 3 were all very short, our highest eclipse being Eclipse 2. By attempt 4, we decided doing Void Fields for Void Fiend as early as possible would be the best decision. So, we attempted Void Fields then, getting unlucky and dying then. Attempt 5, we continue with our plan of early Void Fields, but before I can even get you that, let's take a step back and start from the very beginning of Eclipse One. Starting out in Distant Roost, Jackk and Skull wanted to manage our time, aiming for at least 5 minutes each stage, and so we hurried and left stage 1 with about 7 minutes on the clock. After leaving Distant Roost, we abused our lunar abilities to maximize my lifespan as the weakest character of the bunch, checking out our lunar shop after each stage. And by the way, I'm not going to go over each lunar shop because it's practically the same thing and I didn't get much from them anyway. Being an aqueduct was short. I grabbed the very unneeded Brittle Crown before we used the Lunar Seer to get to Relinite. Sulfur Pools was a lot more interesting with our first unlock of the challenge, getting Jackk onto Chef. The Purpose Crater was empty for me and it was practically the same as back Aqueduct. I did get a Bottle of Chaos, but we didn't really end up needing it anyway. Sky Meadow, I did get an ATG and a 3rd Sail Stock, and I wasn't even able to use it that much anyway for the rest of the run, so If you remember our plan, we wanted to do Void Fields as early as we can, so we headed there with a full run set of items and we were actually able to complete it, granting us our second unlock of Void Fiend for the attempt. Stages 7 through 10 were just loops, so we sped right past them to get to Mythics as soon as possible. And when we eventually did, he got completely stomped on. To start with Eclipse 2, I guess we did Seeker's challenge at some point in the first Eclipse, so we had Seeker start off with this Eclipse. Shattered Abodes started off pretty boring, showing me early signs of not enjoying Void Fiend all that much. In our stagely visit to the Newt shop, I accidentally got a B to Fealty out of habit, and I'm lucky that item does nothing anyway. With my newly acquired access to Void items, I grabbed a Needle Tech and a Void Key from Abandoned Aqueduct. Right after, in our second Newt visit, I forged a 57-leaf clover for my Needle Tech. Scorched Acres gladly gave me a Safer Spaces and a Hardlight Afterburner. Siren's Call gave all 4 of us a Soulbone Catalyst, which I didn't really need as I had a credit card. Luckily, Skull had a recycler. I got with Sonos Whispers instead. Sky Meadow blessed us with 2 Void Seeds, in which I happily took a Polyloop from a Void Cradle. Eventually, we got to Mythics and I used their Quantum Tunnel to get to him quickly, ending our second Eclipse. Heading into Eclipse 3, which was our highest Eclipse at the time, we had a really good feeling about things. So, Shattered Abodes started off real boring, as I don't really know what's good for Void Fiend. Also, Jackk is a fat ass when it comes to item hogging. Wetland Aspect gave me a Plasma Shrimp, or as Jackk likes to call it, a Blimp. Rally Point Delta was similar to Abodes. I did get 2 Gasolines, which was very nice. In our new visit, I forged a Hardlight Afterburner and Jackk got a tonic build set up. Abyssal Depths reinforced the idea of a dry run for me. Hell and Thatchery did give me a Shatter Spleen, even if I kinda did steal it. For commencement, me and TALKSALOT had a way to skip pillars, but Jackk and Skull didn't, so we had to wait for them. Eventually, they did get up there and we fought Mithrix, happy with our progress so far. With our spirits high, we headed into Eclipse 4. Titanic Plains being a really good start with war bonds and a vulture's wake. Each one of us got 2 sales stars from the TP reward as well. I bet an aqueduct gave me a void band and a queen's gland. Sulfur Pool saw me fall off the map due to my least favorite aspect of Void Fiend, his movement utility, and I used my revive for the first time in the attempt. With Purpose Crater, which in my opinion is the worst stage 4 there is in the game, gave me a laser scope, but I didn't really have much crit to get much use out of it. Sky Meadow, I was able to pick up my lack of items due to Void Fiend's slowness, and finally at commencement, we skipped pillars and headed straight towards an easy Mithrix fight. For this next section, I do have to apologize as I did face a lot of issues with recording because I did crash, I think twice. Once in Eclipse 8 and one in Eclipse 5. Eclipse 6, I just forgot to record because I kind of crashed at the end of Eclipse 5. So my computer completely crashed Eclipse 5. And then I didn't record in Eclipse 6. And then my game crashed in Eclipse 8, but I was fine. So I do have the footage for Eclipse 8, but Eclipses 5 and 7, I do not have the footage for, and I do deeply apologize for that. But going past that, I still do have Eclipse 7 and 8, so here we are with Eclipse 7. Other parts of Eclipse 7 I do have, we leave Abandoned Aqueduct with a Runic Lens, 4 Needle Ticks, and a Growth Nectar. Scorched Acres gave me some support items, but nothing of note. Siren's Call led me to disconnecting, but luckily I was able to get back in with no loss of footage. Though sadly it did give me a ton of items I didn't beforehand. But for compensation, we did all get a Dio's Bear. Afterwards, we got into Sky Meadows, getting some more supportive items, then heading to commencement, skipping pillars, and taking out Mithrix. Heading into Eclipse 8 was a bit nerve-wracking, as if we did permadeath, we would have to start all the way from the beginning. Thankfully, we got a pretty damn good run. We started on Shattered Abodes, not getting much from there originally. Pretender's Precipice welcomed us with a Void Seed, letting me get a Tentabobble and Encrusted Key. Rally Point Delta gave me a ton of items, with its Safer Spaces and 2 Needle Ticks being its highlights. Though I did sadly use my revive already and got a Lysate Cell, which is genuinely useless as hell on Void Fiend. Abyssal Depths continued my good fortune with an even more good items for Void Fiend, a 57-leaf clover, and a plimp. Sky Meadow did slow the success down as we were scraping to find a skip. Once at commencement, we had to do pillars and we fought Mithrix for the final time, completing our Nuzlocke challenge and being ready to show it to you guys. Well, from there, that's all I have for you guys. I may plan to release my own version of the slideshow me and Mr. MR.TALKSALOT created together, explaining the entire challenge, as I do feel like we need a more straightforward one. But until then, if you want to do this challenge for yourself, which by the way you will need some friends, I have our original slideshow in the description for you to completely check out on your own. And with all that, I hope you guys truly enjoyed this video. I've really been trying to find my place in YouTube via the type of content I wish to do, and I believe doing these video essay type of content is what makes me the happiest. I do want to try some other format than the Eclipse 1, Eclipse 2, yada yada yada, you know, and I've done that about 3 times now, so I really want to find something else to do. So who knows what you may see from me from the future. And so I say goodbye and thank you for watching, and I hope you guys all have amazing lives. Peace out.